Hi, today we will do something quite different, something I want to do for quite a while now, and that is to answer the question, does Grimdark belong in the old world? I'll talk a bit more about why and such things later, and all the caveats here as well. But the main thing here is that I got inspired by sort of Bayesian statistics, if that's how you pronounce it, that you update your belief according to new evidence. That's why I want to do it sort of live. I'll probably cut all, like the crap and if I get stuck on something, but otherwise it will be pretty much live today. And the idea is that I will take a number of publications relevant to Warhammer Fantasy or the old world, and I will look into them and see, is there, sort of a Grimdark vibe going on, or how much. To facilitate all of this, we will have a Grimdark-o-meter that I will update according to new beliefs. Let's see, let's make a line here. This is a line, and we will make Grimdark over to the far. Grimdark, yeah, D, that's right. And we'll make a skull for all the people that can't be bothered to remember that GD stands for Grimdark, proper skull. And on the other side we will have what would be the opposite of Grimdark. That would be bright and silly, I suppose. And we'll make a candy cane over here. Yeah, we got ourselves a Grimdark-o-meter. And the thing is, we will start right square in the middle and assume nothing, really. I'll make little markers here as well, so that we can keep track of where we're ending up. And we'll start square in the middle. With that done, let's head over to books. We will start with the current edition, Old World rulebook, core rulebook, and then we will head for. I haven't got anything from like the 6th, 7th edition, so I think this I got this Chaos book thing. I think it might be 7th or 8th edition. Then of course we have the 6th edition core rulebook, which I actually got. I'll actually throw in the Mordheim core rulebook as well, for good measure. And then I have a bunch of White Dwarf magazines from number 217. I don't know when this is from. Well, probably not all of them, but some of them. And then I also got a special package with a special surprise in the end. And yeah, I mean, I'm not really such a huge Warhammer collector, so this is what I got. It's quite a hefty pile, actually. I probably won't read all of the White Dwarfs though. I will cut quite a lot if I read stuff like that. And I do believe that I will also need a beer for this. This is quite a lot of things to look through. Be right back. So we're back with a Belgian beer, a Vlaas Kop. I have no idea what it means, but it probably means something good. It's even gisting up the fleas. Don't you forget that. For a daunting task like this, I do recommend a Belgian beer, because they do make the best beers in the world. They also make the absolute worst beers in the world, but that's a totally different subject. And it has nothing to do with Warhammer Fantasy at all. So let's go. I had to take a moment to organize the pile here. It was easier to start from the top. First off, the Warhammer Old World core rulebook. And I've been looking through this one before. I've even made a video where I looked through it, at least the army pages. And I would say it's neither grim nor ungrim. It is pretty much straight in the middle. I mean, the pictures are kind of dark, but the overall feeling is not that grim, you know. Okay, so he's looking pretty grim. But these guys are not really, and while he's looking kind of grim, you get the point. This is just a regular cannon, like any other cannon. High elves, I don't know if they can ever be Grimdark. These are dark guys, but they're still kind of neat. So we'll just skip this one and say that we are starting in the middle. Then we got our first actual publication here, the Chaos, Hordes of Chaos book. Let's see if we can find the date in here, something. It is from, yes, I know it's Games Workshop. Well, it doesn't really say. If anyone knows, please put it in the comments. Yeah, I don't think it says. But I think it's from like this 7th or 8th edition. And let's flip through this one and see what we see. First off, like an arm page back here. It's kind of the old school way of painting things. And it's the same thing here when you look at the army pages here. This one is quite bright for being a chaos thing. These ones as well, but this one is kind of grim. I mean, it's like blood oozing all over the place. And this really looks like some sort of Grimdark conversion. But in general, I would say even the greater demon Nurgle guy here, he is kind of, I mean, he's not very rough. I mean, yes, it's green, but it's a smooth green. Even the dirt is smooth. And then we look at the pictures, the illustrations. Yeah, I would say they're kind of grimish, actually. This sort of rough finish that things are not really a bit oozing here and there. John Blanche inspired. Yeah, it's hard to say that this is, oh, perhaps that guy is surfing on some sort of disc, but it's hard to say that this is like, what do we say, bright and silly. I don't think so. These are not bright and silly. They're more towards the Grimdark, I think. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. It seems to be some sort of dinosaur rhinoceros thing going on, but it does look rather Grimdark. I would say this, I have got no 40k stuff, but I would say this is as Grimdark as any 40k book. Overall, I would say that this gives a slight push towards the Grimdark. Perhaps not a proper definite thing, but our first indication is that, yeah, we have a push towards Grimdark. Let's move on. Is it 6th? Yeah, 6th edition, right? I can't remember. I started playing with like the 5th edition. I got the 6th edition, but I knew all the rules, but I never really played 6th edition though. And if we look at let's start with some illustrations. These are kind of classical fantasy illustrations. Not really grim, not really silly as well. I mean, I would say this is a slight push towards Grimdark, not really Not explicitly dark, but we get it. And then you look at, yeah, I love these guys, the ones that are explaining the maps here. I have no idea why they are biting the map, but I mean that's Grimdark in my sense. You know what? Actually, let's refresh our minds here. You know, what is Grimdark? I often return to this one phrase that the Dark Ages Compendium used, and I think it's such a nice phrase because it catches it all in one phrase. Seek out to mirror the hardship of the miniatures. No, seek out to mirror the hardship of the world onto the miniatures. I think that's it. They are, you know, making their way in this grim and dark world where there are no health insurance and cozy little gatherings. So therefore they will be, you know, they will look kind of worn and tired. I think that's Grimdark. And I think these guys drooling over the map here, these guys, they have no health insurance. Not at all. And the picture is kind of dark as well. Then we move on to the army pages. And yeah, the Dark Elves might be a bit dark, but the Bretonnians certainly are not. And there is nothing grim really going on. Even the skeletons are quite white. Chaos is also looking kind of neat. Wood Elves are definitely not Grimdark, and the here you can tell the green bases. Everyone has got green bases. Even the Chaos guys have green bases. This is just the standard of the day, and I think it actually brings a sense of not Grimdark. The bright and silly. But then the artwork is kind of, I mean, yeah, we've got skulls, but it's not really that dark. This is actually quite reminiscent of Mordheim, I would say. So, as I recall it, this book was actually a lot darker and sinister than the previous ones, because I recall it as a kid thinking, you know, that I was unsure about the style. I liked the old one before, but when I got the hang of it, yeah, obviously I got stuck. I've got a bit of this rough going, but it's not really that much. And I would say that the paintings, the paint jobs, brings it back. Actually, I would say that this is a push towards the middle, but I do have a caveat on this one as well. Let's say 8. So we're back in the middle. Next up is Mordheim, which would probably be safe to say it does give a Grimdark vibe, and you can tell, you know, like just opening up, yeah, this one is kind of dark and things are going on and whatnot. Even the miniatures are not really that dark and grim and rough and whatever, and John Blanchy. You just continue with the black and dark, and certainly I love this gesture. Dark things are going on. Rats are swarming all over the place, and I don't know, ink splashes and whatnot. But let me just fast forward to my... No, really, we can't skip this guy. This is really what I mean, you know, like mirror the hardship of the world onto the miniatures. This is not a miniature, it's a painting, but still, you get it. Something funky is going on here. Let's forward to my favorite warband, the one I always want to have, is these guys. Yeah, if they produce this warband, I would buy it immediately. I just love it. It's really the hardship. You can tell the hardship of these guys. They're not in a great position. They are trying to endure and they're trying to do whatever they can, and they end up looking like, I don't know, a spike through the tongue, and a candle on his head, and rats all over the place. I would say this is Grimdark. But the fun thing is that even though it's just filled with Grimdark goodiness when it comes to illustration, when you look at the miniatures painted, they're not actually that Grimdark. They're pretty much as Grimdark as the ones in the fantasy battles. And this is something that's supposed to be proper Grimdark. I mean, this is for many sort of the definition of Grimdark, Mordheim. It even says here, when it comes to painting your miniatures, dirt and grime. Battles in Mordheim are normally fought in dirty, burned out buildings and muddy streets, so most warriors are usually covered in a layer of grime and dust. This means that you don't actually need to be neat when you're painting. A little roughness helps. Use vermin fur or bestial brown to apply streaks and splashes of mud to the boots and feet of your troops. I would say they could go actually far further than just adding to the boots, because and they got pictures of guys looking like this, sort of like the, I don't know, some sort of mixture between a circus runaway and some superheroes. They've got someone with an arrow in his knee, and someone is missing a leg. That's a bit more grimdark, but still, it's quite a long jump between these guys in pyjamas and this guy with his eyes stitched closed. So I would say that even though the miniatures does not bring Mordheim towards the Grimdark, I would say it stays almost to the other side. The illustrations actually pushes it 2 steps in the right direction, or right direction, in the Grimdark direction. Here we got it, the current state of the Grimdarkometer. Next up we have Warhammer Fantasy 5th edition. I would say this is obviously not the core rulebook of that time, but I do not have that one because my friend had it, and I haven't been able to find it actually, and it felt silly buying a full one for just making a video. But this one would do, and you just look at it and you get no Grimdark vibes at all. 0 Grimdark vibes. And you look inside, you know, like the first page, it's just knights in full colors, and I suppose they have some sort of non-oil shade going on in the recesses, but that's about it. It's just full colors. Even the skeletons up here, they even took a, you know, sort of shower before they went into battle. And then you just keep watching these, keep looking at these armies here, you know, the orcs, all red and yellow and colors, and the wood elves are not really grimdark. I would not, you know, in general they would be the least grimdark ones, perhaps the highest, but I mean the skeletons are kind of dark because they use black as color, but that's pretty much it. I mean this bone white is probably more white than bones are. An empire just full of color. But then we got the illustrations. I've been looking through this one before here. Let's see the illustrations. These chaos guys, they are not grimdark. This looks like some sort of circus number riding around, and they're blue, purple and green horses in not matching armor. And look at this kind of thing that's going on here. This is more like a comic strip. I mean, these wood elves fighting these guys, and there's no blood or you know, misery going on, and this guy chopped off this guy's head sort of thing, but he actually ducked into this little helmet and is peering out of there, looking like really surprised. But looks like one of the silly cartoons, you know, like where a lot of things going on in the same picture, and you find all the people that fall over and people drop things and stuff like that. Yeah, this is so not Grimdark. No, not at all. This troll. He's not grim, he's not dark, he's goofy. He is, what would you say, bright and silly. He is. This is full left. But since we were already at the sort of +2 Grimdark, I would say this one is a full 0 to bright and silly. We add it and we get to sort of bright and silly. And I would say that this is probably quite a lot of the whole thing about people saying that Grimdark does not belong in fantasy battles, because they started playing the same time as me, and at that time there was pretty much 0 Grimdark going on there. But let's continue. So next up we have a bunch of White Dwarfs from roughly the same period, which would be the 217, number 217, which would be, I'm looking for the year, not just the Final Liberation. Okay, this must be somewhere in the 90s. With over 40 scenarios and 20 minutes of live action footage, Final Liberation looks like a real stonker. And there you got this little duplicated flames here. Let's see if we can find something in the back, perhaps. I would like to subscribe for White Dwarf for 1 year, or I would like either the 1997 Citadel Annual. And this is January. I would say that would be January 1998 then, I suppose. So we got a White Dwarf from January 1998. Let's actually check that. Sorry, short break. Yeah, February 1998. So this one is pretty much current with the Fantasy Battles 5th edition. But let's have a look inside anyway, because in this one we also got 40k, which is by all means sort of considered, what do you say, like, it's confirmed Grimdark. I mean, it's sort of the definition of Grimdark. The whole into the far future, dark something something. You know that part better than me, probably. And let's just look at this. We find some people right at the first page. These are 40k, and they have just as much color as the fantasy guys. Here we have. Here you can really tell that it's it's current, not concurrent. It's current with the fantasy battles. We've got a bunch of high elves looking nothing Grimdark at all, and we got this this part. Gorka Morka, that was, what happened to that one? It probably died. Oh, and you've got Space Marines in full colors. I mean, just any color you can think of, you got them. The whole spectrum here. Here we got a sort of rather Grimdark demon. So the illustration is rather darker, but I also see a picture what seems to be Thomas Pirinen, and I suppose this is his Chaos Warband, which does give a sort of, this actually gives quite a Grimdark vibe compared to the other fantasy stuff of this era. Yeah, even the Nurgle guy here, if you compare it to the last guy we saw, this one actually looks unclean and unhealthy, and yeah, this looks, I mean, it's still not proper Grimdark Compendium Grimdark, but it's much darker than other stuff. Yep, they would pass as Grimdark, I would say. Let's take another one instead. like this one. And the first thing I see when I pick this one is this is 40k. This is verified Grimdark, and it's, I mean, there's so much color you can't tell what's going on. There's some sort of Tyranid guy being bright red. But let's have a look anyway. Yeah, the heavy metal. This is probably like the Micro Machines version, you know, like they have like tiny ones, but you can still tell that this is 40k stuff, and it's full color. I mean, and that's what I want to point out with these ones. What it sort of confirms that at this stage, let's find some fantasy guys. Here we got some more chaos guys. Oh, here we got undead. Is that? No, that's chaos actually. But these are undead, and you can tell like everything is just. Even the dark ones are really bright. So I would say that at this stage there is so much color going on. I mean, it's like someone just found the color printing press, and it's like, wow, let's do that. Yeah. No one gets away from full color here. Here we got one of these armies, but that's really telling you that this is current with the Fantasy 5th edition sort of things. Red and yellow and green and full colors going on. The battle report is so full of colors that you can't really tell what things are. Yeah, I think case closed. But this is also current with the Fantasy 5th edition, so I would say it does not bring the Grimdark meter further to the bright and silver, because I mean it's the same thing. The thing I would like to point out here is that if we did the same thing with 40k, which I can't because I haven't got all the 40k stuff, I would say it brings 40k in the same direction as well. A short beer break, and I'll be back. I actually just wanted to buy 2 of these White Dwarf magazines, but I just found a bunch to buy. But I just want to show you the rest of them, because this is sort of, there's nothing special about fantasy having full colors. Everything is full color. You can't get away from it. I mean, 40k, I suppose this is fantasy, but on the back you got 40k. It is full color, anything you do. Necromunda, yep, full color. And here we got Fantasy Battles. No, it's actually War Master. War on a New Scale. I suppose this is sort of release of War Master stuff, but you can still say this is bright and silly, 100%. So, on to our last piece of evidence here, our mystery package. Let's just get a knife and slice it open. We've got even more White Dwarf magazines, but they are a bit older. They are 91, 97 and 93. So let's have a look at one of these. That's the September number 93, September of some year. Issue 93, September 1987. And this is exactly what I want. That would be, if I'm not mistaken, this would be sort of the time when Fantasy Battles had just been released, or thereabout, at least current with that. And on the first page we can see some Skaven. Their name's Skaven, and they're a bit different. I mean, they do have the bright color, and or the clear colors, like the bright red shield and the green, but they are a bit darker, I would say. A bit grungier or something. We got some orcs. The same thing going on here. They do have like full color, but they're not as bright overall as the 5th edition guys. The boars have evolved over the years though. This looks like a, I don't know, a mean pig. And we got a bunch of metal miniatures. I was supposed to have metal, but a lot of miniatures, and they all have names. Even the horses have names. Hawk Swoop and Swiftwind. Got here. More orcs. We got a comic strip, which is admittedly dark, but at the same time I'm not going to read all of this. It was kind of messy, but this guy up here is picking his nose. This is not Grimdark, and it's not bright and silly. It's silly dark, if that's something. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. I've heard about that one. Something. Ooh. Here we got some actual dark stuff. This is the sort of thing that you immediately get the sort of vibe from what's the guy, you know, like the Geiger or something, the guy who sort of perhaps not invented Alien but inspired Alien, Geeker, something like that. Things grafted and a lot of this is very dark. I would say this is Grimdark for real, and it's 40k. So yeah, I would say this is in a sense more Grimdark than the current Grimdark stuff. But then when you look at the next page, you can see full color guys here, full color. But these look kind of Grimdark. It's a weird mixture. More of these illustrations. Is that the famous the Inquisitor, like the Jean-Claude Inquisitor? What is it called? Like the Indiana Jones something. I don't know. It's some sort of mixture. You know this guy probably better than I do. And once again, you know, like everything's sort of dark. But it's like they try to make full colors, but they really can't. Yeah, this guy looks kind of Grimdark, but it's probably just a failure. Here the print is not really that great. But some sort of diorama. I suppose it's some Golden Demon Award. Yeah. Things look a lot more grungy here. But it's more grungy. It's not really Grimdark, it's grungy. And yeah, this is the Golden Demon stuff. This is just so much color. I'm not really sure what to look at. So much color, I can't see what's going on. And it's grungy. It's more grungy than it is Grimdark, I would say. Oh, there was some dwarf shaking hands with the, I suppose then, current president. Let us move foreign land. An adventure for Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, Call of Cthulhu, and MERP. Some other person probably knows what MERP is, but this, I would say, is the same sort of Grimdark as we saw with the 40k. It's a different art style, but at the same time, I mean, this is dark, and it's kind of sinister. The old castle up on the top here. Yes, and it's grungy. It's not smooth as things are today. Like the possession here of cultists. I just suppose. I mean, I haven't read all of this obviously, but I mean, yes, this guy is looking. Is not looking happy. And this is sort of my point here, or it's getting to be my point, I suppose. Skeleton Guard. I kind of like these guys, but in a totally different way than this guy is stabbing himself, and I think this guy as well, and these guys are hanging. This is not bright and sunshiny, or what would we say? Bright and silly, no. And I think this is it. This guy, it's kind of a grungy vibe to it all, and it's things written over, like it looks more like punk. This guy even have a mohawk. This stuff looks more like punk than it does, you know, cartoons or Grimdark as we know it today. And I would say that's kind of the point here. I'm glad I found it when I was looking through these old ones. It is not Grimdark as we know it today. It is something else. It is more punk than it is Grimdark, but it's dark and it's sinister. So I don't really know where to put it. But I would definitely say that it brings it towards the Grimdark, because it is Grimdark, and even the miniatures this time, all the other times, even the current ones, the miniatures are really bright. But in these old ones, the miniatures are actually sort of the darkest ones we have seen. So I would say 2 steps to the right. 1987. Which brought us back to where we started. What do we make of that? I need to add a short side note here. If you do have, you know, opinions about this stuff, please put it in the comments. If you think I'm right, that would be awesome, because I mean, I'm not really sure myself. If you think I'm wrong, that is equally welcome. But in that case, please tell me why I'm wrong. I got some comments in the last one, you know, like, I can't remember them, but it's sort of the style of, you're stupid, Grimdark does not belong in the old world, Grimdark sucks. That's, you know, that's fine if you think so, but don't bother telling me, because I'm not gonna bother reading that stuff. If you do think I'm wrong, please tell me why you think I'm wrong, because I would like to hear that. That's all. Let's get back to the video. Obviously, I do not have everything, you know, in the world. This is not like proof or anything, but I would say this is pretty much summarizes at least my view, and it doesn't break my current view. And it is, you know, it's your miniatures. You know, you paint them whatever way you like. Does Grimdark belong in the old world? Yeah, if you want to. It changed throughout the years. We've been back, it's been forth. Yeah. Paint your miniatures whatever way you like. It's your freaking miniatures. Just enjoy your hobby, you know. That's the important part. Don't forget to enjoy your hobby.